Hello everyone, it's me, better known as Not Ann. Sorry, you're stuck with me and Not Ann. I've got so many textures to experiment with today. So I've been spending a long time making a bunch of these various texture sheet things, texture tiles, I'm calling them, that can tile in a variety of ways. So you can lock them together, more or less, and wrap them around whatever you want to make instant castles or dungeon floors or walls or what have you. And I'm experimenting with different sizes, shapes, textures, etc. I've got this hex set that I really enjoy. It's got 9 different levels of decay, destruction on them. And I've been casting them in a couple different materials, some like really flexible ones, some less so. This one I have not cast at all. This is the original. Is it original? Well, it's close to original. It's original, and then a mold was made out of plaster, and then clay was pressed into that mold, and then it was further refined to get to this point, and I'm almost to the point where I want to cast it again. However, I thought to myself, hey self, wouldn't it be great if you did a test paint on it first so that you could see any potential paint problems that would occur before you spend, $200 worth of materials to cast it? And then myself agreed with me. It was just convenient. Yeah, here's like the most pristine version of that hex compared to the most destroyed version of it, and then everything in between. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to start with this and just see kind of what develops. I don't want to put it on a thing. Put it on a thing. Is this a thing I should put it on? This sticker really annoys me for some reason. A little bit of my OC, not quite D, showing through. Okay. So to start out, I spray painted this just with gray primer and then a dusting of white primer over it. So I have a fairly light bed to start with. I don't want to go super duper dark because I can imagine anyone using this product would want a variety of looks with it. One thing, okay, I have to decide strategically how I want to approach this, because if I was going to use this on my own diorama, I would see all of these rocks as like different, found rocks. They're all rough, found rocks that have been mortared together. You can see some of the mortar joints in there. And if I keep the mortar lines gray and just color the rocks, it will make that effect effective. It'll be an effective effect. Whereas if I just did the whole thing in a bunch of blotchy colors, I think it would be less so. However, I'm trying to think like from a time perspective, if I go in and like hand paint every single one of these rocks, that could be a lot. Whereas if I just slapdash a bunch of colors on, the colors are going to get onto the mortar. In which case I could go in and repaint all the mortar. And is that more or less work than doing the rocks? I kind of feel like it's more work because you have to like get your brush finely put around all of them. So I'm going to start with the assumption that I would rather have the mortar stay as it is, and I'll just call out some of these rocks with some different colors. Oh, boy, that That brush did not rinse out like I hoped it would. This one's close to toast. Okay, that goes in the discard pile. See, I've got my nice brushes here that have not been wrecked yet, and then my completely destroyed ones. So. Put some effort in, or my OCD will be sad. Well, I mean, you should not diagnose a medical diagnosis, right? That's why I don't want to call it OCD, because I have never been diagnosed. And it's a serious condition that has, seriously afflicts a lot of people. So it's not particularly nice to just throw it around as a general personality descriptor. But I don't like the other descriptor that a lot of people use, which is anal. Like, come on, gross. Just don't. I could use the better word for anal, which is fastidious. However, a lot of people don't know what that means. Okay. Another thing I'm trying to consider is that rocks don't have to be 100% a color, right? Most of the time, individual rocks have multiple colors in them because they're composed of a mix of chemicals and minerals? Yes, minerals. Minerals are composed of chemicals. Pro tip. If you want to make a mineral, you need to start with chemicals. Very thorough. That's a good way to put it. No, I get you, Indivies. I was just being, in that case, pedantic. And, a little bit preachy, a little bit up on a soapbox there to spread a message for people who do legitimately suffer from OCD, who find it very annoying. All these people who use it colloquially to mean fastidious. You have the same problem with people describing others. They very rarely describe themselves this way, but using the term narcissist, right, to just mean like someone who's mean and selfish and doesn't care about other people or whatever. It's like, that by itself does not make a person a narcissist. I already forget which word did you Google? Probably not narcissist. You've never struck me as a narcissist. Oh, fastidious. Yes. You are definitely fastidious. Okay. It's pretty close to a nice random but also even distribution of this color, I think. Let's do a different one. I'm going to start out with it really watery. Yeah, and even that is a little too stark. By the way, if you're curious, I'm using pretty much all craft store acrylics right now. Nothing fancy. Maybe someday Reaper will send me a bunch of Reaper paints. I'll bet if I asked nicely they would. Even so, I probably wouldn't use tiny little bottled, like, high quality mini paints on a big, like, terrain thing. I will probably hit just enough when I've got some more mini-oriented painting to do. One more pop of slightly brighter down here. Be nice to balance things out. All right, next up, what do we got? What is this? Some slightly different gray. A beware pack for huge terrain surfaces? Is that something they're going to have to invent? You don't have to be picky on this one, Indivies. Be my unofficial QA assistant. Just like, yeah, that's probably a rock color. Exactly. It's one of the nice things about terrain. People are way less picky about it. Unless it's in a video game level. And then, oh my, look out. Yeah, I'm also wanting to go in and add color variation to existing colors that I've already put on. But not too much. If you do it too much, then everything becomes like really homogeneous. And since I already have like this basic gray coat down, like that takes care of 80% of the sort of paint that I really want on the surface. So it's just a matter of coming in and making little editorial choices about additional flavor, you know. When I was first talking about like, do I do the rocks or just cover everything and then have to go in and repaint the mortar? See, the mortar I would have to do 100%, but doing it this way, I don't have to do 100% of the rocks. I'm still trying to be careful to avoid the mortar where I can. Oh, you know what? I have a bunch of reference here. That reference was sitting under my pile of books, which you should check out, called The Scarred King. Books 1 and 2 available on Amazon today. Exciting action, adventure, fantasy novels. Okay, so I'm looking at difference in rock colors in buildings where they've put a bunch of rocks together. Right? Stone colors. Just looking for a little inspiration and seeing like how different colors tend to be distributed around rock walls. Well, walls made of stone, rather. Cut pieces of, well, not even cut, assembled pieces of stone, because you could have an assembled rock wall like this, where they're not cut, they're just mortared together as they were found on the field. That is known as ashlar building. And then if you cut, no, I'm sorry. Ashlar is when the rocks are cut to particular shapes. What is it called when they are just mortared together in their natural shape? I can't remember. If anyone happens to know off the top of your head or wants to Google it for me, let me know. Okay, enough of that one. Let's do some, what is this? BP. I don't remember what that stands for. Probably brown. Looks like brown pink or something. Well, that's very red. Gonna mix it with some of this taupe. Give it a little more earthiness. Trying to find a little rock to test this on. This guy. Berry pink? Yeah, maybe. Conglomerate rocks are a type of sedimentary rock, I believe. Or are they metamorphic? Maybe they could be both. But yeah, that's just when pre-existing rocks are mushed together, whether I think through deposition in a sedimentary case, or just by being crammed together deep underground in metamorphic case. But I think it's any rock that is composed of other distinct pieces of rock. I'll bet if you Googled Ashlar Wall versus, then Google might fill in whatever this is. Okay. And this one is BT. Rubble masonry. That sounds right. So BB, that might be brown brown. Melting area from the Ice Age. Well, I know that what that leaves behind usually is a terminal moraine, which is sort of an arc of rubble, big rock piles, because they all got to the end of the glacier and got dropped off, and then the glacier melted away, and it just leaves a moraine, which I'm guessing a moraine is not necessarily associated with glaciers, but a terminal moraine is. Terminal meaning end of. So this is a little darker than I'd like, so I'm gonna bring it into this lighter one. I may have just made it redundant. Hold on. My Super Pro paint palette here. Rivers like these areas, the areas of what, terminal moraines? Or melting area from Ice Age. One of the interesting things about glaciers is that they're so heavy they deform the crust of the earth and push it down. And so after they melt, the continent underneath it goes through a rebound phase, which can last hundreds or thousands of years, where the ground was depressed and now it's like slowly rising back up. And whenever ground rises up, that causes the more erosion. So basically that's one way you get orogeny, or mountain creation. I don't think it's responsible for significant mountains. It's more hills and valley river type situations, but not sure on that. Yeah, this is the right brown that I was looking for. It's something I can kind of blob into other colors here and there to give some more variation. Oh, yeah, so the glaciers carve, I want to say U-shaped valleys, whereas if it's just a river valley, it's usually a V-shaped valley. North of you is flat because of the because there were not glaciers that went that far. Oh, I found my little Scola head. Very nicely subtle. You see him? He's right there. Super subtle Scola head. The glaciers were pressing their way over the north. Okay, gotcha. Now I want to do, not black, but something that feels black in comparison to the other colors. It's not going to be that. Still got some of these from my Colossus diorama hanging around. Oh, that's all dried out. So on the palette, that definitely doesn't look dark enough, but because the actual surface is so light, it may end up being. Were you actually able to see the Scola on the stream? Sometimes it's hard to know how much detail actually gets through the various compression that Twitch puts on things. He saw with 360p. Wow, maybe he's more obvious than I thought he was. Let's see, I'm going to find him again and paint him with a finer brush so everyone can see. There we go. All right. There he is, Tiny Scola. Do you recognize him? That's this guy right here. He likes to sneak around a lot of the art that I make. Always skulking in the shadows, popping up when you least expect him. Kind of like a ninja, I guess, yeah. You could probably do a ninja rope course really well. Probably not as fast as a ninja, but you'd definitely be able to get through pretty much anything. As long as there's no swimming involved. You can't swim at all. Tesla deck just sink to the bottom of water. Which you would know if you got through the first chapter of the book into V's. I mean, I guess you would have to get to the end of book 1, I think. That's when you find that out. Minor spoiler alert. Tesla deck can't swim. This is making me realize, though, that if I want the mortar to read like mortar, I am going to have to at least put some amount of color on every rock. I hadn't thought that through. It's okay. That's what this time of research and development is for. You made it to the disc? Okay, okay, that's not bad. Wait, which picture traumatized you? Not the one in like the first page, was it? With the dead sea folk? Should I advertise the book as traumatizing? The most traumatizing fantasy adventure devised. Some of these areas, I can't even tell if... Like, I thought I was really careful to make sure that all the places where rocks are was fairly distinct from the mortar. There's a lot of, like, ambiguous area in there as well. mean, that's a fair point. If the very first illustration in the book actually potentially turns off a certain number of readers, uh, then maybe I want to get rid of it in future editions. It's good beta reader feedback. Yeah, that's a good point. You could do the picture from more of a distance or more showing the reaction of the faces of the people around rather than just a very sort of cold descriptive shot. I was hoping that it would kind of evoke the same kind of, that it would put you into Beaumark's uh, feelings, right? Because he's feeling horrified and nauseous, but that's not like the overall tone of the book, right? It's not a horror book. It's not meant to be like intensely traumatizing. We're just supposed to meant to feel bad for our protagonist seeing this, and it affects and informs a lot of what he does in the future. So I guess one thing that this painting is showing me is that I might want to go in and do a little more work on establishing the mortar lines better. But going through the process of actually marking out all the stones in a different color really helps to find the particular trouble spots. I think that's a good example of failing to consider the gestalt when working on a large project. You know, I'm thinking on the tree level instead of the forest level. On the tree level, I'm thinking, what do I want the reader to be experiencing right now? Well, generally the answer is I want them to be experiencing what Beaumark is experiencing as much as possible, because, you know, you want to identify with them. But there should be other goals that are part of the overall piece of art you're working on that can modify and moderate the immediate goals, right? If I was making a horror novel, then it wouldn't be a problem, but since I'm not, I'm actually kind of miscommunicating, setting the wrong, or perhaps setting the wrong expectation for some readers. And my beta readers would not have picked up on that because most of the beta reading happened before I had the illustrations in. And I think I was thinking of the illustrations as something that would only be adding positively, you know, to it. I hadn't considered how they might actually detract from what I was trying to do. So that's really good feedback. Thank you for that, Enemies. You don't like to directly feel with the protagonist? That's interesting. All the writing advice I've ever heard has been that you want players and readers to be as identified with the protagonist as possible. But I'm sure that's also a personality preference, right? Like, some people like that experience, some people don't. I don't know how unusual your proclivities are, but I would be willing to guess that you're not the only person in the world who feels that way. Although, would you say it's kind of a one-way street? Like, you would like to identify with them when good things are happening, but would like to disassociate when bad things are happening? Is that fair? That seems like a pretty normal human impulse. Okay. Oh, wait. No, that was supposed to be mortar. Sometimes the mortar squishes out from between the rocks, and sticks out further than the rocks. I mean, in certain construction, especially in this, oh no, rubble, mortar, rubble, oh, I forgot the other part of the word. No. Trying to find any other rocks that I missed. I don't see the reference that I got of these kind of walls. I really should have it out here with me. But one of the things that I remember very vividly is that there were a lot of places where it was hard to tell what was mortar and what was rock, because the rock is often broken and crumbly and stuff, and then the mortar is in places like sharper, or in other places missing altogether, just like, you know, it's fallen out of the wall. Rubble masonry. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, if you ever get back to the book, you please let me know if any of the other illustrations throw you off or disturb you too much. I mean, there's one in particular I'm thinking of that might also have that effect, but I'd be curious if it does. Because if it does, then I'll have a pretty good model for how to approach modifying the images to work for people of your psychology type. And if it doesn't, then we'll have to discuss more to refine the model. That's another place where I'm not sure if that's supposed to be mortar or rock. And I guess if it's ambiguous and you paint it one way or the other, then it's fine, right? I think that's what that means. And on there, so that's must be a rock as well. And I think it's separate from this rock. Zechariah, how you doing? Welcome. Hope your day's going well for you. So I would have saved myself some time if from the beginning I would have painted the rocks all the way to the edge, but for some reason I thought I didn't need to do that until I remembered, no, all the rocks have to be a different color than the mortar for this technique to work. And the more they like blend into the mortar, the less this is going to look the way I want it to look. Okay, but we're getting close. Oh, so close.
Hey, Dad.
Yep.
First off, this would be very great if you could help me out with this. My car is having spark plugs problems, but
Shocking.
hey, but
Get it?
they can. He says the
Well, wait a
Volvo
minute.
guy.
This is important.
What?
Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Shocking.
I get it, Dad. Yeah.
Okay.
We are going to help cover the cost. What the fuck does that mean, Volvo?
We're on a stream,
sorry.
so please use good language.
Excuse me. What does that mean? Help cover the cost?
I don't know. You're going to have
What
to
does
ask.
help mean? Because if not, Lexi's dad could just do it. Is this for work?
Correct.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
You hear that, everyone? At Reaper Miniatures, my son apologizes. Ooh, I am rocking steady as I dab it.
Anyways, oh, so you're working, so you probably couldn't help me, could you?
Oh, that is correct.
Okay.
How do you know it's a spark plug problem?
This car has a really great feature where you can press read and it tells you all the problems with the car.
Oh.
Or like error codes.
That's
It
amazing.
said hashtag spark plug. And I was actually looking up because I was having startup problems. And I'm like, that sounds like a spark plug problem. So I'm looking it up and then I see the error message pop up.
Usually it's a battery problem, but could be
Maybe.
spark plug.
If it's just a battery problem, that would be nice.
Spark plugs are actually probably cheaper and easier than a battery problem. Well, it depends.
Yeah.
A few over here still. Alright. How are we looking? That's supposed to be rock up there? I feel like that's supposed to be rock. Worst case scenario, I missed some spots. It's fine. This is mostly for testing purposes. Once I get a wash over this, I think it's going to be a lot easier to distinguish. There it is. All right. So, while that's drying, let's see what we can do about these kind of things. So, these are like at the, hopefully the 95% done point. And in theory, you should be able to tile them. Let's see. I was starting to see the matrix and learn how to do this earlier. But I see I already lost my, oh no, okay. There's one meeting point. Let's see, that looks like, I'll go there, yeah. Now in theory, these shapes should be infinitely tileable in any direction at all times, based on this mathematical proof, because these were designed by AI. Yeah, so I had my friend laser cut the shape for me, and I've been messing around with trying to figure out how do you make something like this like work, and like the rock has to look good from both sides, even from the side, but it has to have like perfectly flat matching, you know, areas where it matches up. I already lost how I match it. No, there it is. Right. Yeah, so it's a tricky thing to try to figure out, okay, how do I make it feel organic and yet it can still stick together in a variety of modular ways. Plugs will cause misfires, okay. Like the car could just explode. Okay, how do we want to approach this? I think I'm going to start with just like some watery washes of different colors. And we could go with a bigger blobby brush for this. Just kind of dampen the surface a bit first. You know what? Since it's all very organic and mushy, I can just go all over, because my glove squishing on it isn't going to hurt the overall organic effect. I'm not going to be leaving like fingerprints or whatever. Finger painting. That's another way to do it. And I think having these colors a little too bright and saturated is what I want, because the wash is gonna pull everything down. Never invite a wash to a party. They just really pull the whole thing down. Yeah, Shane just got a 2012 Volvo something or another. It's a darn nice looking car. Way better looking than any car I've ever had. A little jelly, to be honest. I don't know if this is atomizing the paint or something, but it's like, yeah, I guess it's just doing like super fine stippling. Interesting. C30? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Iridium plugs burn hotter. Oh. I don't think it's a hatchback. No, it's not. It's got a very sloped back window. It's just like a sedan. Okay, so that's a pretty bright rock. Like, it looks almost like a whitish marble. But once we get the wash on there, it'll probably look pretty different. Let me throw it out in the sun real quick. That way it'll be dry in a few minutes. And while we're waiting for that, we can do a wash on this. All right, I've got 90% sure this is a wash. filthy cup. That's the perfect place for filthy wash. Especially if you need to wash your filthy mouth. Now ideally I would put a clear coat on this before doing the wash because it's going to pull up some of the acrylic paint that it's re-wetting right now when I dab it. However, as just like this test thing, I'm going to try the easiest, fastest thing first, and who knows, it might work. If not, then I'll know for the next iteration. Yikes. Windows fly. Oh, yeah. Was that your car that happened to? Extra telemetry. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah. I remember Indivies was saying she was in a car that a piece of it flew off when they were on the Autobahn. I didn't remember it was a Mazda, though. For some reason, I assumed it was a Volkswagen, you know, because they're in Germany. This is looking pretty successful, pretty realistic. You would never know that it's just a, piece of clay. Better, more stone than stone. That's our motto here. Oh man, is it Waitani or wait, is that I get the Alien Corporation and the Blade Runner corporations mixed up. And then I start thinking of Waystar. I don't think it's Waystar either. What's Blade Runner's corporation? More human than humid. Yeah, humid. No, that's for Houston. More human than human. Tania's aliens. Tyrell, yes, Tyrell, thank you. Also turned into the best song White Zombie ever made. Okay. Yeah, and then a dry brush will further homogenize. Like some of these colors, like especially that yellow standing out at me, it sticks out a little bit too much against the rest. Although always just dab them down a bit. I think what's calling out the yellow a little bit is that the color itself is a little more saturated than the other colors. It's not that it's brighter, it's that it's more saturated. Like this one is fairly saturated as well, but being rust, like that's a color you're more likely to see in this kind of a wall. Okay, let's see if I can remember. A rubble, not masonry, is it? Rubble masonry? Maybe that's what it is. It doesn't sound right to me now, but then it also kind of sounds right to me. All right, while this is setting, I'm just gonna do a quick anything on this. So I was thinking this could work as like mud or sand or crater. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Do I want to go brown and muddy, or I mean, I guess we've got this color out. We might as well just go with this. Aggregate and conglomerate are both, I believe, types of rocks themselves, not types of architectural building. Hardtop convertible. I think you would have told me if it was. Purple holes and pink surroundings. Yeah, that'd be some sort of like crazy alien skin. C70 is the hardtop convertible? Yeah, I don't think it's that one. C10 sounds right. Speaking of letters, I mean numbers, we are at the appropriate time to go raid another cool artist. So let's queue us up for that. If anyone is new and is not aware, my name is Josh Foreman. I have a YouTube channel where I do lots of art tutorials about fun, nerdy art. You should check it out. It's at Josh Foreman. It's at the link that Quindy is putting there. It's amazing. You should subscribe. Get me to 40K. I'm so close to 40K subs. Nothing particularly happens when I get there, but you know, it would be nice. Okay, next stream I'll definitely show this. Did I write a book? I did write a book, also in those links, I believe. All right, thank you everyone. Let's go visit someone fun. Bye.